أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. So continuing with our discussion of Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, the next thing we need to discuss is the construct Rabbil Alameen, which means the Lord of the worlds. And Allama Tabatabai, when he speaks about Rabbil Alameen, he also connects it to the next verse where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Maliki Yawmiddin, or the owner of the day of judgment, because the meanings of Lord and owner are connected together. And of course, as you know, Maliki Yawmiddin in some variant recitations of the Quran is also pronounced Maliki Yawmiddin. Malik meaning king, Malik meaning owner. And of course both of those meanings are close to each other as well, as we will see right now when we discuss it. But you might have noticed that I am using Tafsir al-Mizan quite a lot, and the reason for that is that I think that as we go through the Holy Quran, it is good for us to have a basis and a benchmark. And I think Tafsir al-Mizan is of a good standard as a Tafsir of the Holy Quran for us to put as our benchmark as we go through our Quranic journey. Of course, I'll bring ideas and opinions from other tafasir as well, but as we go through, we will put Tafsir al-Mizan as our base and a good understanding of Tafsir al-Mizan as well, because I know Tafsir al-Mizan is translated, I know Tafsir al-Mizan is in different languages, and so on and so forth, but it's very important to get a good grasp of this tafsir. It is a very special tafsir. Allama Tabatabai has used a very special methodology. If you've seen the couple of videos on YouTube that I've put there about the methodology that Tafsir al-Mizan uses, Allama Tabatabai uses, you will see that quite clearly. But also Allama Tabatabai has explained some very important principles as well. And hopefully as we go through the tafsir, we will unlock those principles of how to understand the Holy Quran and how to understand that some of the verses act as, if you like, general verses that cover many different ideas and topics. So this is why I'm using Tafsir al-Mizan a lot, and I will be using it a lot as we go through, but also I will bring in other ideas as well, inshallah. So now when it comes to the discussion of Rabbil Alameen and Maliki Yawmiddin, Allama Tabatabai brings in the concept of real ownership and imagined ownership, or i'tibari ownership, meaning ownership that isn't real. And he explains this by saying that what we usually consider as ownership is not real ownership. Meaning that if you were to want to, for example, if you want to own a new PlayStation, for example, you will go to the store, you'll pay money, and you will then own the latest PlayStation. In that sense, we use ownership, if you like. Ownership is a convention that we have between ourselves to designate what property belongs to somebody and what property doesn't belong to someone. So for example, if you were to buy a house, you'd do the same thing. You would go to the estate agent, you would find a house, you'd buy the house, and then you would own the house. Or you would first buy a piece of land, and then you would buy the materials, and then you would construct a building on top of your piece of land, and then you would own your own house. And the issue of ownership is important within society. If we had no conception of ownership, then it would be a free-for-all. People would just be taking, if you like, other people's things, but it's only other people's things while we have a concept of ownership. But this is not real ownership. Why is it not real ownership? Because if you die, or if you pass away, or if somebody takes away that property and doesn't give it back to you, there's nothing that you can do about it. You only own those things out of convention. You do not really own those things such that you will take them into the next life with you, or such that if somebody was brazen enough to take it from you and there was no legal structure to get it back, or the legal structure was inefficient in getting it back, you would no longer own that thing. It can simply just be taken away from you. However, real ownership is different. And of course, real ownership is the type of ownership that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't own us the way we own things. He owns us in our entirety, and He owns all of creation in its entirety. And the difference between His ownership and our ownership is that not only does He own us in the sense that we cannot be taken away from Him, or anything like that. Not only does He own us in this sense, but His ownership is such that it also requires His continued nurture. It is not the sense that He just owns us as possessions. He owns us and He nurtures us. And this is the meaning of Rabb. This is the meaning of the Lord. The Lord is the owner and the nurturer of the creation. So the creation cannot be without its owner in any moment in time. And as we'll see later as well, Allah Tabarak also brings a philosophical discussion to talk about this as well. So this is the meaning of Rabb and also the meaning of Malik. Rabb has the additional kind of understanding of the nurturer, whereas Malik is more confined in its meaning to the owner. And of course Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the owner of the Day of Judgment. We will speak about what Alameen means in the next video, and it is also linked again with the verse Maliki Yawmiddin. Inshallah we'll discuss that in the next video. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin.